Testing. Hey, group. While we're waiting for Danita, I just want to offer this book for anybody. It's called Making Sense of the Bible. It's by Adam Hamilton. We've done several classes here in the church by him, and this is really a great book. Um, he covers all kinds of topics in the book, from homosexuality. He talks about Revelations. He talks about the books, the difference in the books in the Old Testament. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? And the books in the New Testament. If anybody'd like to, it's a quick read, but it has lots of information. Making Sense of the Bible. If anybody wants to take it. Making Sense of the Bible. It's by Adam Hamilton. No? Okay. I think you'll enjoy it. You'll learn a lot too. Don't we all? Sense of the Bible? Oh, yeah. You do? Carol has more. Pam is busy today. Danita, as far as I know, is coming. So why don't we do some joys and concerns while we're waiting for Danita? How about joys? Here's a joy. Carol, where are you, Carol? Carol, I didn't recognize you behind that mask. Carol has a birthday today. We could sing happy birthday. I can't sing anymore. Yeah, we did, didn't we? Welcome, Danita. Anybody else have a joy? Carol's a birthday girl. That's right. It's nice to see some of you are here for the first time and some that are back since March.
I will just say there's 3 of us here that have anniversaries in a row. Today is Frank and Jan, tomorrow's Ed and Ruby, and then Claude and I is on Thursday. So that's great.
And yours is Saturday. Okay. Wow, isn't that great? Boy, somebody was busy making flowers during that time.
Hi, everyone.
Any other joys?
Can everyone
Okay.
hear me?
We'll give it to Danita.
Can everyone hear me? No? Can everyone hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yes? No? Can you hear me now? Is that better? That's better. Okay. Good morning. I see some faces we haven't seen for a while. Jill. Hello. Hey, hello. Hello, Haynes girls back there. Diana, do you feel better? Donna. It's so good to see all of you. I'm sorry. I allow myself 35 minutes to get across town. It takes me longer to get here than it does from Crawfordsville. And I have been waking up at 5 o'clock, and I'm better when I do the lesson in the morning. But this morning I woke up at 7:45. My brother called. I always take my brother's calls. Then somebody else called. And so I was running a little behind, and I apologize, but I figured you guys could all talk like you usually do. So okay, I'm organized. So happy birthday to you, Carol. Pat Wright is this week too, I think, the end of the week. Pam is, hi online. Am I supposed to be seeing them? Yoo-hoo! I don't see anybody on YouTube. Are they on there? There's a delay. It's hysterical. Blessings today? Concerns? Oh, are we going to have a fun lesson? The strength to wait and be patient. Boy, do we have a lot to say about that, don't we? So, share time. Jan, it's good to see you back. I hope you're feeling better each day. Who has things to share? And I don't have a microphone to pass around. Oh. Hello? Okay. Ruby, you have something?
I finally was able to get in touch with Rhonda Hunt, and she is very unhappy where she's at. She lost everything. She is going to get a different apartment at Cambridge Estates, but it's not ready yet, so it'll probably be 3 or 4 weeks. In the meantime, she said there's nothing she really needs because she's at her daughter's and there's no place to put it, so if we're going to do anything for her, she suggested we wait until she moves into her new apartment. Soon. Hope that's soon, because she's very unhappy. So.
No, I'm sorry to hear that. Anyone else have a blessing or a concern? Yes. Yay.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back, girls. So
Oh, we're glad.
my doctor finally said I could come, so yeah.
I'm doing great. My eye's not watering now, so yep.
Who else? Diana? We were worried about you.
I'm good. I'm doing better. I lost a cousin last week. Yeah, there's only 7 of us first cousins, and he was next to the oldest. Bladder cancer. It was kind of hard.
Prayers for you. Who else? Donna, how did you get along with your grandchildren this summer?
They were wonderful.
Good. I'm glad.
We went to eat and we went to the zoo. It depended on her parents. Okay.
Awesome. Who else? Yes. Denise.
I have a concern and a blessing. I've been diagnosed with Parkinson's, and my blessing is that the medication that they gave me about 3 weeks ago, I believe is working. I haven't fallen since, and my primer is almost gone.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Who else? Anybody else have anything to say? Because I'll fill up the time. Anybody else? Okay. I'm getting along great. My apartment's coming along. I moved some heavy furniture. I'm proud of myself, but it slides along the flooring, except when I got to the carpet. And then Dave built me a solid oak case many years ago, and I'll tell you what, I tugged and pulled, and I was not going to let go. So anyway, I can get in that room where I have the bookcase now. I've made a lot of progress. But I still have a ways to go. because I go to the pool every day and I'm the only one there. And it's the first time, can you hear better with this one? It's the first time I've ever had a pool and access to a pool every day and by myself. So it's pretty wonderful. I don't last very long in this hot weather, but still quiet, although I went out to recycle and there's no room to recycle after the weekend because there's several beer cans. And there's no room for me to throw my little stuff up there. So I keep looking out for the recycling guy. I do ask for blessings, I do ask for prayers. My brother called this morning. You know, I have two nephews that play college basketball, and they're kind of in the midst of preparing, hopefully, for that season. And my one nephew, who's worked so hard all summer, blew out his ankle. So now he's in rehab. My brother says it's pretty bad. And my other nephew that just had the surgery that tested negative for COVID has now tested positive. He's very sick, sleeping a lot, having trouble breathing. He was supposed to leave for school the 24th, which I think is tomorrow or today, and I just think it's ironic. He tested negative, he had the surgery, then he got sick, and now he's tested positive. So I just ask for many prayers for my family. I'm going to put this up because I can't read. And last week I was telling everybody that's where my mask ended up. Anybody else have anything to share? Yes, Ruby.
Sue wanted me to tell everyone that her brother-in-law is having serious surgery on Saturday, and so she'd like us to keep him in our prayers. His name's Danny. I don't know his last name.
Very good. Anybody else before I get started? Well, let's just take a few minutes in quiet prayer and pray for those here who have asked for prayers and those who you know in your life that need prayers, and just take a few minutes in silent meditation. Amen. And Zoom people, or YouTube people, I don't mean to ignore you. Hello, good morning. I don't know who's with us, but we're glad you're here with us, and we're glad you're here to share in the Word of God. I might make another quick announcement. I have some clothes, a little bit of jewelry, a lot of pictures and knick-knacky things that I've put out in my apartment, and I'll be home today from 1:45 till about 3:30, 4 o'clock, if anybody wants to come over and look. I don't have any purses, and I don't have as much jewelry as I have, but I've got a lot of cute things. I'm sick of it. I'm done with it. Nothing's over $5. Most things are $1 or $2. So just if you want to come, just come knock on my door and have at it. I've got some summer things. I've got some winter things. And I'm not done with my clothes yet. I will tell you I have one closet that still is a mile high. But you are certainly welcome, and just come and visit. And I do have 2 chairs now, if you can get in them. If you're short, forget it, because they're tall and I have to jump. But anyway, yeah, I didn't take that into consideration. And when we got him, Dave said, "How do you plan on getting in it?" I said, "Very slowly." So anyway, yes, Diana? Oh, okay. I live at right off Morehouse Road, off Sagamore Parkway West. The address is 1999 Country Squire Court. However, I have yet to see a sign that says Country Squire Court. The easiest thing is to, after you turn onto Morehouse Road, the only way you can turn, is to turn left onto Trailside Flats. There's a Marathon station on the corner, and there's a storage unit, and then if you turn into Trailside Flats, you go clear to the end, make a right, and I'm apartment 43. I'm at the very end, and the maintenance guy and the Pile High recycling is next to my apartment. So again, it's 1999 Country Squire Road, apartment 43. The easiest way is there's a big sign that says Trailside Flats, right after the storage units. And it's across from, you know where Memorial Gardens is? Yeah, it's right across from that. That's where I do my walking. Diana? Okay. Okay. All right. Just make a caravan and come on out. I can hold this many people. It doesn't say maximum capacity outside my door, nor does it say you have to wear a mask, but I will. Yes, I'm close to Chico's. I haven't been yet. I've been resisting. I haven't bought anything. Aren't you proud of me? Oh, trying. Okay, I thought I'd start with a devotion today, and I just happened to find one on a prayer about patience. When I'm feeling impatient, Heavenly Father, so many things in my life make me impatient. It's sort of like, dear Lord, I'm asking for patience and I want it now. Sometimes I get stuck in a traffic jam or have some other unexpected delay. Sometimes I have to wait for a child to mature past a troubled stage, or I have to deal with some other difficult situation that hangs on, Carol, far longer than I think it should. I want all my problems to be resolved. We all do. But we're like little kids. We want them resolved now. And I kind of think the generation that we have now are even more so, because everything is instantaneous. I recognize these situations as obstacles that frustrate me. But if I have the right perspective, Lord, I can see them as opportunities to grow in patience. That's what our lesson is about. Please give me the grace to know when there's nothing I can do to speed up a situation, and the patience to wait for your timing. I trust in the eternal plans you have for me. May the knowledge that my long-range future is settled and secure allow me to be more patient during today's frustrations. Amen. I would like to go ahead and start today with our lesson. And I'm actually, Pam, I talked to her and she said, she didn't know if she liked this book or not. I'm liking it more and more as we're getting into it. And so on page 47, strong enough to wait. And I guess I never equated strength with waiting, but boy, it does take a lot of strength, doesn't it, to wait for God's plan. I feel like I've been waiting my whole life. How many of you feel that way? Yeah. So I looked up patience, and we always know patience is a virtue. It's a virtue because it's not easy. It's an exercise in self-control, which we deal with next week. They just keep getting better, I'll tell you. But patience is the capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. I don't think we have a better example of trying to be patient than we've had the last 6 months of our lives. It was hard to be cooped up, to stay home, to wait patiently, and it's still difficult because the world as we know it has kind of disappeared. But with patience, I know that God in His timing will resolve what needs to be resolved. I did hear the latest out of CDC. Did anybody hear the latest? That they've taken away the 14-day quarantine if you travel overseas, and that you only need to be tested if you're ill, if you feel bad. Now, I don't know what that means for us exactly, but those were their new guidelines. And so I see things that are being done and that are moving us along, to us like a snail's pace, but progress is being made. And God is with us, aren't you certain? Every step of the way. And this is one instance where we all share the same obstacle. Having patience means you can remain calm. Anybody throw anything in the last 6 months, or gripe or complain, or yeah. Even when you've been waiting forever or dealing with something painstakingly slow. I had the patience of a saint in my classroom, and when I got home, I had expended it all and I had none. So I think it is an arduous thing to have to sit and wait patiently when we want to act, when we want to do something to make it better. And when God says you need to slow down and have patience, and you're on my time now. There's an incident in here where Saul does not listen and goes ahead and does something because he's impatient. Psalm 27:14 says, "Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord." This is about when David kind of lapses into some moments of doubt and fear in his life. Once we learn to wait for the Lord's leading in everything, we will know the strength that finds its highest point in an even and steady walk. Many of us are lacking the strength we so desire, but God gives complete power for every task. He calls us to perform. Waiting, keeping yourself faithful to His leading, this is the secret of strength. It's difficult. What's something you've been waiting for a very long time and you still have no answers for? Anybody have something they want to share? Something you've been waiting for a very long time and you still don't think you have the answers. I feel like let's make a deal.
The Lord to come.
Perfect example. And we all believe, I think, in our own generation that He's coming. I think we have the faith and we need to believe that. And we look around and we think, well, if He hasn't come yet, what in the heck is He waiting for? We need Him now. Anyone else have something they've been waiting for? Carol, we know your story. And it took a while, but He was there. My whole life I've been waiting for something. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I know that one of the things it is strength. And I know one of the things it is that I need to be more faithful. And I know there are petty things that I've been waiting for, like the pool to open. And it's tough. It's tough. Anybody else? Anybody else have their prayers answered?
What my purpose in life really is. You know, we all have a purpose, and really haven't got to that point yet to really know my purpose.
Everybody hear that? Her purpose in life. I think we all feel like that, don't we? I thought my purpose in life, my sole purpose in life, not my sole purpose, but one of my many purposes was teaching. And that was over. When that was over, I was lost. I didn't know what my purpose in life was. One of the things I decided to do is try to teach a Bible study. So that gives me purpose. It makes me feel like I'm back in the classroom, only you guys are better behaved. Sometimes. Anybody had a prayer answered that they've been waiting an awfully long time for? And you can define awfully long. To today's kids, awfully long would be an hour. Anybody? Something you've been waiting for? Okay, good. Before I sit down, who would read our little story about strength found while waiting by Lorraine? Would someone read that, please?
It goes all the way. You don't want to read that much? We'll just make somebody else read.
Well, you try without it.
Maybe without.
When a friend heard that I was writing a chapter on waiting, she recommended that I contact her friend Lorraine. I did, and Lorraine graciously shared her journey of waiting on God. Lorraine met the Lord at age 23 and decided that she needed undistracted time to focus solely on God. In order to do that, she vowed not to date for a year. After the year was over, she spent a summer in East Africa and was, in her words, totally hooked. I remember praying on the flight home, thanking God and praising Him for such an amazing experience, and telling Him that as soon as I was married, I would be ready to go back. It was almost as if I heard Him say, "Why would you wait until you are married?" I knew in an instant that I needed to let go of my expectation and to trust the Lord for whatever He had in mind for me. Over the next few years, she worked with international students and was preparing for a career overseas. But as she moved into her 30s, Lorraine's feelings about being single hit hard. She pleaded with the Lord to take away her longing for a husband. Although she experienced many blessings and opportunities afforded more easily to a single woman, she still desired to be married. On her way as a missionary to the Middle East, Lorraine discovered a poem by Martha Snell Nicholson titled "The Thorn." God used the poem to show her a new way of thinking about this gift of singleness. She realized that she could offer this God-given longing back to Him and count on Him to redeem it for His glory and my good, knowing that His grace is sufficient. God also used Lorraine in the lives of many other single women as a witness to His faithfulness and tenderness in regard to that desire. During this season of her life, Lorraine experienced times of testing, loneliness, even depression. She described this period as having sought and even fought to keep on trusting him for his provision and entrusting him with my heart's desires. He had never failed to provide for my needs, though not always in the way I would have chosen. For 22 years as a missionary in the Middle East, Lorraine never believed that God was obligated to meet all her desires this side of heaven. She did not believe that she had been granted some spatial gift for rethinking the single life. But she did believe that God lovingly chose this path for her, and therefore it was good. She had come to look forward to her marriage in heaven and was settled in her heart that God planned for her to remain single. But in 2010, Lorraine's heart was again strengthened in a very surprising way. Here are her words. Imagine my astonishment and delight when a wonderfully godly man serving in the same country also trusted God for years with his unfulfilled desire for a wife. Ask me to consider marriage. God has now called us to a whole new world of trusting him. We are awestruck and humbled by this gracious and unexpected gift, but mindful that this gift too is a temporary blessing designed to point us to his ultimate reality. I can't describe how sweet it is to contemplate together God's perfect timing and to rejoice in his perfect ways. We would not trade a single moment of the waiting and can only look back as we look forward with gratitude and wonder at the loving kindness of our God.
Isn't that a wonderful story? That story brings a little tear to my eye. In God's time, this poem that follows was written by this woman at a time when she was sick, and it deals with the adversity of God that God brings you in life and how that adversity strengthens us. I have been listening to a song lately, and it's a country song, but has the neatest lines in it. It says, thank God for the highs, thank God for the lows, thank God for the almost. And it's sort of become my mantra because this young man in this song talks about things that almost happened to him that didn't. Like, I almost didn't kiss the woman who became my wife, and how that transformed his life. Like, he almost hit the fence post, but he didn't. And so he kind of recommitted himself to life and quit drinking and that kind of thing. This is actually based on 2 Corinthians 12, 7 through 10. And it says, I stood a mendicant, which is a beggar of God, before his royal throne and begged him for one priceless gift that I could call my own. I took the gift from out his hand, but as I would depart, I cried, but Lord, this is a thorn, and it has pierced my heart. He said, my child, I give good gifts, and gave my best to thee. He said, my child, I give good gifts. Whoops, I just said that. I took it home, and though at first the cruel thorn hurt sore, as long years passed, I learned at last to love it more and more. I learned he never gives a thorn without this added grace. He takes the thorn to pin aside the veil that hides his face. It makes us look at those thorns a little bit differently. Okay, now if you turn the page, we are going to read Psalm 40. Oh, wait a second. Psalm 37, 5 through 7. These are passages that are supposed to inspire and confirm your own journey of waiting. Psalm 37, 5 through 7. I've noticed we get a lot of psalms in this study. Psalm 37, 5. I can't lick my finger. Commit everything you do to the Lord. Trust Him, and He will help you. He will make your innocence radiate like the dawn, and the justice of your cause will shine like the noonday sun. Be still in the presence of the Lord and wait patiently for Him to act. Wait patiently. Commit everything we have and wait on the Lord. But how do we do this? How do we find the strength? I like this better. How do we find the strength to wait on the Lord?
With this COVID thing, we have no choice. We have to wait.
Absolutely. Anyone else? Sometimes you have no other choice but to wait. Let me ask you something. What was a big thing that you waited on when you were a child? An experience? Something you wanted in anticipation? And then how'd you feel after you got it? Because sometimes the anticipation is more fun than the actual thing.
When I was little, I wanted a bicycle, because everybody else is getting one. And I had to save my allowance for a year and pay for half of it. It took a long time, but I finally got it.
Anyone else? Ben?
Well, I wanted a horse. And my dad said, "You realize how much work this is going to be?" "Okay, Dad, I'll do it. So he gave me a horse. And I had the horse until I got to be a teenager. Well, then that horse and those responsibilities became a pain in my life. And Dad said to me, "I'm going to give you a month to straighten up." He said, it's your responsibility. You ask of the horse, you're going to take care of it. If you don't, the horse goes. That's exactly what happened. The horse went. And I cried. And I was so mean to my dad because he'd taken that horse away from me. But I learned a big lesson. That when you wait and you wait, it doesn't always turn out the way you think it's going to turn out. So we have to be pretty careful about what we asked for. And careful when we get it.
Anyone else have a story they'd like to share? Okay, why don't you turn to the next psalm? I think it's a psalm. Where am I? Okay. Sorry, I lost my place. Okay. Yeah, 41 through 3. Who would like to read that? Any volunteers? Denise, you want to read? Hey, I'm burning up my breakfast this morning. I just wanted you to know.
I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of a slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn and praise to God, our God. Many will see and fear and put their trust in the Lord.
How does that make you feel if you wait patiently? What happens? You place your trust in the Lord. You find great comfort and great joy. Okay. Let's go on now. And number 2 says, someone humorously commented that patience is a virtue that carries a lot of weight. I did this because I didn't think you'd have a dictionary handy except for your phone. So it said, look up the meaning of wait, which it says, to stay where one is or delay action until a particular time or until something else happens. Stay. And then it said in the definition that there were some 95 synonyms or idiomatic expressions that had to do with wait. One of them was cool your jets. Anybody remember that one? Or cool one's heels. Tarry, halt, dally, stay put. Now I've not heard this one. Stay on ice. Bide one's time. Lie in wait. Loiter, which you can get in trouble for. I haven't heard this one either. Be on the agenda. And there were 95 of them, so those are just a few that I wrote down. Number 3 talks about this man named Hudson Taylor, and I started to realize that I need to find out who these people are rather than assuming that he's probably somebody important. And he was a British Protestant missionary in China, where he spent 51 years of his life. 51. He observed quiet waiting before God would save from many a mistake and from many a sorrow. Perfect example right here. I didn't wait for God to lead me to the right answer. I jumped right in with both feet because I was impatient. Let's take a look at 1 Samuel 13, 5 through 14. This is a passage I'm sure you're all familiar with. In fact, I may have already, it's so funny when we look up these passages, I already have my Bible marked for that passage. 1 Samuel. I thought I marked all these. Everybody there? Okay. Let me give you a little bit of a preview of this. This is the chapter where God rejects Saul for disobedience because Saul has just been installed as Israel's first king, and after leading the Ammonites, he now faces another enemy, those good old Philistines. And Samuel distinctly told Saul to wait 7 days for him to come and offer sacrifices. And Saul didn't wait. Israel went into battle, he gets impatient, and he proceeds to offer sacrifices himself. 1 Samuel 13, 5 through 14. Volunteer? 5 through 14. Anybody? Okay, Diana.
The Philistines assembled to fight Israel with 3,000 chariots, 6,000 charioteers, and soldiers as numerous as the sand on the seashore. They went up and camped at Michmash, east of Beth-aven. When the men of Israel saw that their situation was critical and that their army was hard-pressed, they hid in the caves and thickets, among the rocks and in pits and cisterns. Some Hebrews even crossed the Jordan to the land of Gad and Gilead. Saul remained at Gilgal, and all the troops with him were quaking with fear. He waited 7 days, the time set by Samuel. But Samuel did not come to Gilgal, and Saul's men began to scatter. So he said, "Bring me the burnt offering and the fellowship offerings." And Saul offered up the burnt offering. Just as he finished making the offering, Samuel arrived, and Saul went out to greet him. "What have you done?" asked Samuel. Saul replied, "When I saw that the men were scattering and that you did not come at the set time, and that the Philistines were assembling at Michmash, I thought, now the Philistines will come down against me at Gilgal, and I have not sought the Lord's favor. So I felt compelled to offer the burnt offering." "You acted foolishly," Samuel said. "You have not kept the command the Lord your God gave you. If you had, he would have established your kingdom over Israel for all time. But now your kingdom will not endure. The Lord has sought out a man after his own heart and appointed him leader of his people, because you have not kept the Lord's command."
He panicked, and I don't fault him in that, because we often panic in our waiting. My Bible says, when we forget who is on our side or see only our own resources, we tend to panic at the sight of the opposition. The Israelites became terrified and hid when they saw the mighty Philistine army. They forgot that God was on their side and that he couldn't be defeated. As you face problems and temptations, focus your attention on God and his resources, trusting him to help you. Goes on to say, rather than waiting for a priest, Saul offered the sacrifice himself. This was against God's laws and against the specific instructions of Samuel. Under pressure from the approaching Philistines, he took matters into his own hands and disobeyed God. He was doing a good thing, but he did it in the wrong way. Like Saul, our true spiritual character is revealed under pressure. The methods we use to accomplish our goals are as important as the attainment of those goals. How many have felt pressure to do something, did it, and then regretted it? Anybody want to share? Well, we all have, haven't we? Okay. It is difficult to trust God when you feel your resources slipping away. Do you agree? That's when he puts us to the test. When Saul felt that time was running out, he became impatient with God's timing. In thinking that the ritual was all he needed, he substituted the ritual for faith in God. When faced with a difficult decision, don't allow impatience to drive you to disobey God. When you know what God wants, follow his plan regardless of the consequences. God often uses delays to test our obedience and patience. I don't think I knew that. I think my brother knew that. I think my brother knew that and knew I needed to spend months with he and his family getting well. Do you feel sometimes that other people know best for you than you yourself? Because I completely entrusted myself into his care. And God came back into my heart. And I won't say it happened immediately, but when it happened, I felt the healing begin. And I still feel that I need to heal. And I'm impatient, just like we all are. But I found that if I keep busy, if I keep my eye on the Lord, that my times of distress and struggling are becoming fewer and fewer. The evenings are rough, and anyone who lives by themselves probably would agree. The evenings are tough for me, maybe not for others, but I was so used to the noise in the house of those boys. And at 5 o'clock, I'm kind of done with my day. And so if I'm reading, that's okay. I don't have a TV yet. But I found that that's a good time for me to pray. And you know, I've told you many times before, I've never really had a set time when I prayed. I just did it when I needed something, basically. And now I've found that I really need to pray to get through those hours that I kind of have a dip. You know, some people, I used to have a dip at 3 o'clock. Anybody have that dip at about 3 o'clock? On the way home from work, it was like, oh my gosh, I need a nap, I need some energy or whatever. And I kind of find my spirit, after being busy all day and being happy, I kind of feel my spirit is just kind of like, I just become a little depressed. So this has been a really, really good lesson for me. Let's read Romans. You'll turn the page to 52. I have no idea what time it is. There's a lot of passages and things. Can somebody give me the time? 5 to 11. 5 to 11. Okay, we'll warm up, or we'll wrap up with this. Let's do Romans 8:18 through 25. And it goes back to what Jill said about what your purpose is really, or what your expectations for the future are, and that Paul tells us it's the glory, and you have to figure out what that glory is for you. Romans 8:18 through 25. And who would like to read? Diana is ready and waiting. You guys are quiet today. You won't be quiet when you leave here. I've seen you out there in your little groups. Okay, good.
Present suffering and future glory. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. For the creation was subjected to frustration, not by its own choice, but by the will of the one who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be liberated from its bondage to decay and brought into the freedom and glory of the children of God. We know that the whole creation has been groaning, as in the pains of childbirth, right up to the present time. Not only so, but we ourselves who have the first fruits of the Spirit groan inwardly as we wait eagerly for our adoption to sonship, the redemption of our bodies. For in this hope we were saved. But hope that is seen is no hope at all. Who hopes for what they already have? But if we hope for what we do not yet have, we wait for it patiently.
the glory for all of us is the same, but a little bit different, I think. Where our true home will be someday. And my Bible says our Heavenly Father, however, never makes promises he won't keep. Nevertheless, his plan may take more time than we expect. What are we waiting for? New bodies, a new heaven, and a new earth. Rest and rewards, our eternal family and home, the absence of sin and suffering, and being face to face with Jesus. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Don't steal tomorrow from God's hands. Give him time to speak to you and reveal his will. He is never late. Learn to wait. I want you to wait on something this week. I am really proud of myself. This is a silly example, but I went to sell it here to pick up my benches, and there's a big green clock there. And it's been about 9 or 10 days, and I haven't purchased the clock. And if you know me, I would have purchased the clock a long time ago. But I'm waiting it out. And it's hard because I want to go to sell it here every day and get it. But I'm not sure it's quite right. And normally I would just impulsively pick it up and buy it, and then probably have to sell it in a garage sale. So I'm waiting. I thought I'd share with you, I know it's probably time to go, but I thought I'd just share a few laughs with our serious letters, or our serious lessons, and it says, I love this one, I hope I didn't read it. An older gentleman was driving on a freeway when he received a frantic phone call from his wife. George, I just saw in the news that someone is driving on the freeway in the wrong direction. Look out for him. Driving with one hand and holding the cell phone with the other, George responded, I think they made a mistake. It's not just one car driving the wrong way. There are hundreds of them. Signs of the time. In a podiatrist's office, time wounds, all heals. On a septic tank truck, yesterday's meals on wheels. In an allergist's office, wheeze be seated. On a plumber's truck, we repair what your husband fixed. In an obstetrician's office, pay as you grow. On a watch repair shop, come in and see us when you haven't got the time. On a tire shop, invite us to your next blowout. On an electrician's truck, let us remove your shorts. On maternity room door, push, push, push. At a car dealership, the best way to get back on your feet, miss a car payment. Outside a muffler shop, no appointment necessary, we hear you coming. In a veterinarian's waiting room, be back in 5 minutes, sit, stay. In the front yard of a funeral home, drive carefully, we'll wait. Praise be to God. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful week. It's going to be hot, so please stay cool. Take care of yourselves. I hope to see some of you this afternoon. I have some things to give away, so let me do that.
15.
3.
37.
Pass.
75.
5.
24.
12.
3.
9.
30.
58.
90.
Pass. Okay, the number was, so I heard 50. I told you I found a lot of stuff, so here we go again, we have to pick a different number.
67. 80.
62. 62.
37.
87.
20.
Pass.
3.
76.
51.
21.
The number was 51. This is something you probably want to put out next summer, but I've had it for a long time. And I just want to show you all. It's a little lamp that is plugging for myself. Isn't that cute? Alrighty. Well, I have to go get my hair done. Usual, that's why it looks so bad today. You're welcome. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Bye, ladies. Good job. I forget about our ladies on YouTube. Darn it, you're not here in person. It's like, no, I need to figure out how to be able to talk to them, and I haven't figured that out.